Hey, what's up, guys? Your boy OG Black. Just want to make sure that I'm getting this video in good for you guys. The video I'm making for you guys right now is about El Comandante Fuentes. A lot of people ask me a lot about El Comandante Fuentes. You guys will be surprised how much I get about El Comandante Fuentes. El Comandante Fuentes was born, in the time of when mafiosos were getting their start, where they were what we would call in their infancy of the mafia. El Comandante Fuentes, he grew up in a really hard place. He grew up in what a lot of people call the Golden Triangle. The Golden Triangle, for a lot of people who don't know, is the mecca point of heroin, opium, marijuana, growing facilities. Cosechaban ahí a lot. A lot of people don't know the fact that these places, they've been around in families for generations. Examples: the Beltran Leyvas, the Guzmanes, El Señor's family, the Torreses. A lot of these famous families in Sinaloa have family in Durango, have family in Chihuahua, have family in all these places. These places are where a lot of the big time narcos got their start. El Comandante Fuentes is like many narcos. He comes from a very humble beginning. He comes from a very humble upbringing, and he was born in a place that was it was what they would call, how would you say, it's a place where people could say that it's very rural. It's a very old community. The closest city would be Tamazula. That's where everybody knows, Tamazula. He was born in Rancho La Mesa de la Tierra. He was born in 1952 in February. He's an older gentleman. A lot of people forget about him because he died in 1988 in Tijuana. He was married to someone who turned out to be later on very important in the nautical world. He was married to Sandra Avilas. He had one child with her, Jose Luis Jr. If you guys don't know who she is, I'm gonna give you a real quick background on her. She's who they call La Reina del Sur. She's her son was with Edgar Guzman when he died, when he was killed in Sinaloa. Her son was with Edgar, and I think they're cousins. Yeah. So Sandra's related to the Chapos through marriage, through somehow. And El Comandante Fuentes was actually married to her back in the old days. That was his wife, his first wife. El Comandante Fuentes, there's a lot of funny stories about him, man. My grandpa told me that he used to make guns out of wood, and he used to be running around Durango, outside playing, cops and robbers. So, he's from the old school, guys. A lot of corridos are made about El Comandante Fuentes. He was murdered, by the Mexican Marines. He was not. He was pretty much murdered. What happens is he had a rancho in Tijuana called Rancho Los Olivos. Everybody knows about it. It's a big town now, but at that time he had named it Rancho Los Olivos. Story goes that the Mexican government found out when that he was in Tijuana. He was living there, and he was living far away from Sinaloa. So you guys know, a lot of guys who are in the narco world, or they're in the narco business, wherever they're doing business at, they live 200 miles the opposite direction. You got guys who are calling shots in Tijuana and they live in Sinaloa. You got guys that call shots in Sinaloa and live in Tijuana, and vice versa. You got guys in Michoacan calling shots in Santa Ana, and you got guys in Santa Ana sending money back to Michoacan. It's usually, vice versa in Mexico, but not vice versa from Mexico to US. Um, I'm going to bring you guys a lot of videos of these older guys like Comandante Fuentes and things like that. I put it on for my Patreon first and make sure that people on the Patreon get what they do. I'm not trying to rob my viewers or my subscribers or anybody, but my Patreon fans seem to be really supporting me. I'm going to bring you guys fire interviews like this. I'm going to be doing an interview pretty soon, 2-person interview. Hopefully this interview goes good. I don't know exactly when this interview is going to happen, but I'm going to be making it pretty soon. I'm trying to get the logistics done for it, and hopefully this interview will go good and people will really appreciate it. Comandante Fuentes has a real important part in history. Guys, if you don't know about him, here's another thing you might not know about him. The heroin and opium and marijuana business was really strong at that time. From my understanding, Comandante Fuentes wasn't what they call a very understanding guy. Story goes that one time Comandante Fuentes had a field about 62 acres of Mangola. And some guys had decided to wait till they cosechar, which means to wait till they were done fielding and picking up all the heroin, all the opium. And his guys were done with it. They had put it away and they were getting ready to leave with the opium or the carga or the heroin. And they were getting ready to go turn it into the guys they got to turn it into. And these guys, bunch of thieves, pulled them over in fake police cars, got them, tied them up, ended up killing one of them, ended up taking the heroin. So Comandante Fuentes was not happy. So he used old method that no one really talks about nowadays. He got the guy who was the main what they call perpetrator, or the person trying to steal his shit. So he got the cop and he tied him to a tree. Comandante Fuentes' story goes that my grandpa says that he got the guy and he told him, "Who sent you?" The guy wouldn't talk. He was a sav and he was a straight soldier. So he said, Comandante Fuentes said, "Alright, you're not going to talk. Well, then you're going to tell me." So what happened was that Comandante Fuentes ended up getting a baby calf and holding it for 2 days and not feeding it. Then he got the guy and pulled out his private part and stuck it in a cup of milk and showed the baby calf, and he was crazy. He was hungry. He hadn't eaten for 2 days. So he told me, "You got one more chance. You're going to tell me what happened or not." The guy said, "You're crazy. I ain't scared of shit." He let the calf go. The calf got his private part. Bam, got it. Started sucking on it. Once the milk was pretty much gone from his mouth in the first suck, if you guys know anything about animals or baby calves or cows, when they don't feel no milk or anything, they bite the nipple, just like a child. They bite the nipple to feel the milk to come out. Okay, so what happened was he bit the guy right there. Once he bit the guy, he started bleeding. And once the calf started feeling the warm blood, his brain mistaked it for milk. It tasted a little different, but he said, "Hey, it's milk. It's warm, same substance. Let's go." So the guy ended up talking, and Comandante Fuentes, ended up killing the guy. Then he ended up going to the army general who was the crook, and he told him, "Look, man, what you did was beyond recognition. You stole from me. You tried to set me up. You've been taxing me, and you tried to have me killed." And Fuentes wasn't stupid. So Comandante Fuentes at the time, he hadn't got that name yet. So Comandante Fuentes told the Comandante, "What are we going to do about this, man? You're a Comandante. If I kill you, things will happen." The Comandante laughed and said, "That's exactly what's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. You're going to walk away and you're going to forget about it because you're not a Comandante." So story goes that Comandante Fuentes turned around and shot him in front of everybody, executed him in front of his soldiers. That's how he got the name, supposedly, Comandante Fuentes. People say, oh, he was in the military. Some people say he was in the army, his dad, whatever. But that's just a story I heard. I don't know if it's true, but it seems true to me, and I know a couple people told me the same story. I hope you guys like my show, man. I'm trying to get the best things for you guys out there. Remember, I don't get paid for this. I'm not being monetized. I'm not anything. If you want to subscribe to my Patreon, I would appreciate it at OG Black Show. If you want to help me out, my Patreon, it's OG Black Show at gmail.com. That's my PayPal, OG Black Show at gmail.com, and my Patreon is OG Black Show. Hope you guys enjoyed it and have a nice day.